the 13th episode of CloudFocus Weekly for the second week of October 2010. This episode is titled Cloud TV. CloudFocus Weekly is sponsored by Arkus, cloud computing experts. I'm your host, Jason Atwood, and joining me is my very happy to be here, first time today, every single time, co-host Justin. Justin, how you doing?
Doing great. I got a big smile on my face. I've got an Arkus logo on my left chest.
You are wearing the Arkus shirt. I almost wore that today. Yeah, that's very nice. So like we kind of talked about last week, got a big agenda. Actually, not such a big agenda. We're going to hit one topic this week.
Yeah, one and only one.
Which is, I think will be interesting. We kind of did that last week with education.
Yeah, we bounced around a little more last week, but this week we'll stay on topic.
So one of the people in our company, Larry, has written a blog post on Cloud TV. Sort of entitled, I Want My Cloud TV. Great title. Glad I came up with it. And
kind of like the song from the 80s.
Yes.
About MTV.
About MTV. Yes. And basically talks about, the past, the present, and the future of entertainment that comes from this place we call the cloud. So let's get into it. Let's talk about it because I think it's an interesting move, and there's sort of two big players that are there now and getting bigger. So what do you think about the blog post first of all?
I love the blog post. I love every blog post on blog.arkusinc.com.
Nice plug.
Smooth. Put it right in there. Larry did a great job of explaining what it is today that people want from their entertainment experience and what they're actually looking for, and how they want a one-stop shop for content. And it's all about content, and it's all about the places where you can consume your content, whether it be sitting in your living room watching a large HD television, on the train with an iPad or an iPhone or another mobile device. We just happen to love Apple mobile devices, but Droid or Windows Mobile, whatever it is that you happen to be watching on, you should be able to get to your stuff, whether it's yours or whether you're paying a subscription to access this service that pumps content down to you. Much like cloud computing service providers, you can subscribe to Netflix and consume 20, 30,000 titles, whether it be movies or television shows, of content for under $10 a month on your computer, your mobile device, or what have you. And it's a trend that's moving faster and faster to the point where, as opposed to today and certainly 5 to 10 years ago, you were beholden to your cable company to get content. Now you're more paying your cable company for the access to the pipe to get to the content that comes down over it. So you're paying for your internet connection. And I think what Larry's trying to point out here, and he does very well, is sooner or later you're really going to just be paying for that connection, because things are going to be coming to you down from the cloud or stored on your iTunes and streamed to you somewhere else. And that's a pretty neat thing.
Yeah, I think for me, cloud entertainment, cloud TV, whatever you want to call it, breaks down into three different categories. One is sort of the one that's been around the longest, which is streaming of stuff that already exists. It's the YouTubes, it's the Vimeos,
the Hulus.
It's stuff that exists that you're streaming down. And the streaming technology has gotten better and better. I think this year YouTube went to HD streaming, so 720p.
You can get.
That's sort of an interesting model. And that fits into the Netflix, right? Which is there's stuff that exists, you're streaming it. You're streaming it live, but you're streaming it. Then there's the second piece, which is more the purchasing model, which is that this is the Apple model. We have tons of content. You want that content, you pay for that content. You pay for it once, just like a song. You want the new Britney Spears album, you purchase it, it comes down, you own it. TV, movies have been that way. Apple's been trying to break into that more model of less about streaming it, more about owning it. And I think for music it works. I don't think for video it works as well. I have purchased many TV shows, a few of them which we watch a lot.
As have I.
But a lot of them which I've never watched again. And I feel like I spent $3 on a 40-minute TV show, And I also think the model doesn't work because a 3-minute music video is $1.99. A 30-minute TV show in HD is $2.99. A 1-hour HD show is $2.99. That seems to be odd, right? Why is it 3? Like, to me, it should be based on the size of the show. A 3 minutes shouldn't be the same price as 30 minutes as opposed to an hour. But that's just me. Then the third one, which is getting more and more, is live content streaming. And it's the hardest to do because it's the hardest to scale. You can put a lot of content out there on servers and have it downloaded to lots of different people across America because you're copying one file over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm. Sort of like a content delivery network.
Very much like a content delivery network. But for streaming, you're going to have hundreds of thousands of people all logged into ESPN,
right?
ESPN 3D,
which by the way, ESPN 3 is pretty cool. It's ESPN's. They rebranded their 360 to ESPN3.com. It's great because they have a lot of live games and they have a lot of live sporting events and things of that nature. But what they failed to do is reach agreements with certain internet service providers like Cablevision, just to point out one that I happen to subscribe to. Mm-hmm. And I can't use ESPN3. So just to go off on a little tangent there, some of this live streaming content, we need for the service providers that are providing the content to agree with the cable companies that are providing the connection so that we as consumers can actually use these services that are so cool and awesome. Sorry to go off on that tangent.
No, it's a perfectly good tangent because there is a fight between cable companies with DVRs,
right, and TiVo.
Although my cable company, RCN, actually has their cable box is a TiVo box with a cable card.
So it's like an OEM TiVo.
It's TiVo with RCN cable card.
That's cool.
Oh, it's the best thing.
Because you get the TiVo DVR technology, which is the best. And you still get your cable, which is whatever.
Which
you
is
get your
cable.
Right.
I don't care. 350.
And that's part of what Larry talks about in his blog post, to bring it back to the blog post,
right,
where who even watches live TV anymore? I only watch sporting events live.
Right.
I DVR, and I hesitate to use TiVo as a verb like we use Google.
Kleenex, Xerox.
Or Q-tip. I hesitate to use the word TiVo because, TiVo is a brand of but really it's ubiquitous. I watch only sporting events live. I don't watch some of my favorite television shows that are on networks live at all. It's sort of odd. I'd rather just have them either DVR'd or allow me to go to some place and rent it off the cloud or buy it off the cloud if it's cheap enough. And hopefully it'll get to that point where the cable company or the service provider, that's whether it's cable or satellite, segments it down to, all right, we're no longer winning in this economy of scale by giving away 300 channels for X price. Let's just give a little menu and let people choose. Oh, you want ESPN? Okay, that's $4. You want Discovery Network? That's $1 or whatever. I know that they'll probably never get to that because there are so many channels that they provide that are worth almost nothing. So they lose out in that way, and then channels will go away and advertisers will go away. But that's part of this. I mean, it really shifts a lot of business models away from the way that they've been doing things for years and years and years.
And in comes two new players, Google and Apple. Apple, which has been in the arena for a while now with Apple TV as a hobby,
air quote hobby,
as Steve Jobs has put it, and Google, which I think sort of put some fire under Apple a while ago when they announced Google TV.
They're really competitors now, Apple and Google, more and more.
Phone,
totally.
TV,
totally. Yeah.
Devices.
Not really. Google kind of got away from devices. They had the one device and then stopped selling it.
As Steve Jobs likes to put it, we didn't go after search. They went after mobile.
Yeah, but they're
OSs.
doing okay in
OSs.
OSs. Yeah, definitely.
Both with a OS
mobile
that's
OS and with Chrome. I mean, that's coming.
browser.
Definitely.
We could do
an Apple versus Google podcast.
I don't want to do that.
Let's save that.
But
for
so I
another
think
day.
what's interesting for Google TV is a little bit different model than Apple. That it's included as a box you can buy. It's actually $2.99. It's out now, made by Harmony.
Yeah, and isn't it also embedded in televisions
And
as
embedded
well?
in a new Sony television and multiple televisions to come, basically running a version of Android inside the television, and allows you to sort of have that experience of surfing plus video plus downloading plus
And search.
application plus search all inside. I've seen the videos or the demonstrations of it. It looks kind of cool. I never saw anything that made me go, oh man, I need to have that in my next TV. I will say that it didn't really bring me to that level. Apple TV
Can you creatively think about things that
mind grapes.
in your mind grapes? Can you creatively think about things that this technology could potentially do that you might want down the line? Like I think about the power of Google search and being able to be like typing in a player's name like Mark Sanchez and being able to be pointed towards like Jets content or things like, you know, I always think of sporting events, or actors' names, and being able to then sort of go to like different movie channels where they might have a show on in a week and a half, things like that.
But that already exists in things like TiVo. It does. I can type in
TiVo. You could type in an actor's name and get there. Okay,
and it'll find all the content
that's
therein.
kind of cool.
So that's a sort of already
Good on you,
exists.
TiVo.
Yeah, good. TiVo's done a good job at that. Apple is gone with their old hard drive based one that I have. I actually upgraded the hard drive. I ripped it apart. I actually sent it away, had them upgrade it, and came back. So I have a 260 gigabyte hard drive in my Apple TV. That was their old model, and it was about a $250, $300 device. It's now this tiny little device.
It's a quarter the size of the original.
It's all streaming, and they based it on the new OS. They based it on the same OS that is running on the iPad, iPhone, iTouch.
With the same chipset as well,
Same
right?
chipset. So, what I think it's going to have more power and ultimately, to me, win out the Cloud TV wars, at least to start, is that it's got the application development environment and thing to pull from, which is the Apple Store. So all those apps that exist, what is it, 1 million applications now? Think of the apps. The one they have built in that I think is just actually the built-in app, which is the Netflix app.
And YouTube. But Netflix is pretty killer.
Netflix is killer because it's the new thing.
But
it's basically
Google TV
everything.
could do the same thing.
It
has
could.
the ability to do apps. It has Netflix. It has Pandora.
It doesn't have the developers.
It doesn't have the same developers.
And it doesn't have the other devices. It has Android, but it's not going to have the unified devices. Here's where I see, they've already announced in the Apple TV, the new Apple TV, that I could be watching something on my iPad. So I have a movie on the iPad, and I'm watching it. Let's use one of their movies. Oh, Beauty and the Beast. Just came out on...
Sure.
Well, just came out. It's a new release, and it's the 20th anniversary or whatever. Are you watching on my iPad? Walk into the living room and go, oh, actually I want to continue watching it up there on the big TV, and hit a button and say send to Apple TV, and then it starts to instantly stream from my iPhone or my iPad to my Apple TV onto the big screen, and I'm now watching it up there, and I'm controlling it off my iPad. That sounds very cool for content, right? Great for videos, music, whatever. What about games? What if I could be playing a game of Madden on my iPad? And I always say, ooh, send this to that big screen up there. And then I continue to play. My iPad turns into a controller. The screen turns into the screen. I'm playing Madden. Someone else walks in the room and they pick up an iPhone. They then play another version of Madden. And then I can just walk away and continue playing it. I walk outside. I think the connection between these devices, the iPhone, the iPad, the iPod Touch, and the Apple TV, becomes an incredible ecosystem that, if done right, with applications that talk to each other. I mean, it's like that example of, you've seen the Scrabble version, right?
Yep.
Unbelievable. Or Chopper 2, if you haven't played Chopper 2 on the iPad and iPhone. It's one app, but when you have the iPad in front of you and the iPhone, one becomes a controller of the other. It's incredible. Like, it just, I mean, it is turning like two $500 devices into $10 devices, but then you could turn your TV into the third. I think that becomes cloud entertainment, not so much because it's coming from the cloud, but that it's ubiquitous. And that's what only people want with entertainment nowadays, is I just want the things I want, anywhere I want them, in the format that I want them, in the way I want to watch them.
And fast.
Well, I think fast is when I want them. And fast,
though. Well,
when I want them.
Well, think about, and when this gets really cool is when you can ultimately have your library in the cloud. And like right now I'm sitting in front of my laptop. Well, my laptop doesn't have my iTunes library on it. My laptop is not connected to my Drobo, which is where my iTunes library is, because it's massive. But when I get to store that in the cloud and get to it fast, as if it's sitting on my laptop, that's when this becomes super cool.
So that's the future, and that's where Apple is going. That's what all the projection of the North Carolina data center are. That's the projection of why they bought Lala, which was a service that would read through your iTunes collection, say, you own, and I know you do own, all of Britney Spears. And so it would say, Justin, you own all of Britney Spears. You can now, anywhere you are, stream Britney Spears from us. People thought that it took your albums and put them up into Lala. No, it didn't. It just said...
It authenticated against the fact that you owned it already.
Right. Apple's going to do the same thing. And it'll do it with movies. It'll do it with television shows. So then wherever you are, as long as you have a connection that can handle it, and that'll be the fight between the networks, you'll be able to say, I bought The League Season 2. I don't have it on my iPad, but I can start to play it immediately. I bought it. I can play it.
That's when it gets really cool.
I think it does. I don't think that's the biggest game changer, but I think that's where Apple has always done the best, is iTunes. iTunes has won every war. iTunes won the iPhone war. I don't care what you say about everything else. Because the sync worked and applications came across it. iTunes will win this war because the content is where it's at, and they have created an incredible content library. Now if they put it all in the cloud, game over. Then you throw the apps on there, so then any app, I have tons of apps on top of my Apple TV. I then control it with my iPad. I swipe it around. I mean, you could just see all sorts of very cool stuff. So I think that's the future, and I'm excited. I have one. Will my next TV include Google TV? If that's the extra feature, like the third or the fifth HDMI port, sure. Will I seek it out? I won't seek it out. But if I'm looking around, and it's like between Panasonic, Sony, and Vizio, and I look at the Sony and it has Google TV included.
Don't go cheap on me and get the Vizio.
No, I'm not going to get Vizio. I would look at the Sony and I'd go, Google TV included? Okay. But I worry about future ability. The nice thing about Apple TV is $99. I could take it. I can actually bring it with me I can vacation with it. I could travel with it. If it's built in the TV, I couldn't take it with me. So
This is true.
So I'm more thinking that the little device, it's also swappable. TVs, my TV I've had now, I got it a year after I got married, so I've had it for 6 years. It's a wonderful TV. It's lasted me, and I want to replace it this year, but OSs and computers are replaced much more often. My iPhone lasts about a year. My iPad lasts about 6 months. I replace them very quickly. I'm not going to replace a TV every year. No matter how, if it got cheap enough, I guess I would. But, you know what I'm saying?
If you got the Vizio.
If I got the Vizio, I might replace it. So, are there any other players in the market that you think about when you think about cloud TV? Or
There are some interesting other things that I think about, and one of them is something that I own and love, is called the Slingbox. And that's a sort of cousin to all of this, where the Slingbox is a box, and you hook it up to your television and to your internet. And then you run a application on your computer, whether it be your laptop. They have a mobile app for the Apple Store, and you can essentially control your cable box or whatever you've plugged in to the back of the Slingbox through the input with the application that you're running on your phone or your computer. I love it because you can be sort of anywhere, and as long as you have an internet connection, you can control your television and watch stuff that's on your DVR and change the channel and turn the thing on and mess with your roommate that's sitting at home and watching something. I mean, you can do all sorts of fun stuff with it. But it's great because I know there are features now with certain boxes where, I forgot to DVR this. I'm going to log in through my phone and DVR it. But I can do that from anywhere as well with my Slingbox. But I can also watch the television through it. And it's pretty cool to have your TV wherever you are.
And that's doing a space shift, which I think is cool. The one other thing that I've been using a lot now, or at least 5 weeks in a row, is if you're a DirecTV person, you own DirecTV, and you have the DirecTV Superfan package. They rename it every year, but whatever.
The NFL package.
The NFL package, and it's the NFL on the Go package they add on top of it. You can log into a site now. So you can be watching on your DirecTV, and then you can log into a site, and through a Flash version, basically watch any game. And it comes down in incredibly good content, and it's pretty reliable. I set up my computer every week and have it going on a 24-inch screen above my other screens, and yes, I'm that nuts. But so I watch 7 hours of streaming content a week, and it works very well. So I think that kind of shift, if you look what they're doing on NBC, on Sunday Night in Football, where they allow you to pick different angles, you can then change the angle and watch your own angle of what you want to watch on TV. Like, I think that stuff is just becoming, the interactivity is also going to be where streaming is going to get you more than traditional TV and cable. So cool stuff to come. But let's round it out with our CloudFocus App Pick of the Week.
Rolls right off the tongue.
Let's keep it, obviously, to the topic at hand.
Yeah, why not? So keep it topical.
I will start with you to say, what's your CloudFocus App Pick of the Week?
I'm picking Pandora, which most people who listen to this are likely very well aware of. But Pandora, it's pretty popular. It was a darling. Even before the iPhone came out with apps, it was already pretty cool. And then it really took off, I think, when the iPhone app came out. It was one of the first killer apps on the iPhone and has become even more cool since it can now run in the background. But it's essentially a service that you log into on the web, on a website, Pandora.com, and you tell it a band or a song that you like.
For you would say Britney Spears.
Right, let's say Britney Spears. And it starts playing a Britney Spears song.
Hit Me Baby One More Time.
Sure. And then it plays another song, and it just keeps, going through and creating songs based on what it believes you would like based on what you told it originally. And as you go, you can thumb up or thumb down certain songs, and it keeps creating this music station for you, and you can create multiples of them, and it just streams down music like an internet radio station, but it gets tailored to your own personal likings and dislikings, because as you go, you're telling it, I like this song, or I don't like this song, and then it keeps building on with some algorithm of what other people who like that song like, or however else it does it through genres and etc. And it builds this amazing music station for you that's personalized to yourself. And you can listen to it on the web at Pandora.com. You can get the app on most mobile platforms and even on the iPad as well.
It actually just showed up in an update to my TiVo box at
That's
home
cool.
as Pandora.
Yeah, Pandora's on the Google TV. It's gonna, I imagine, be on the Apple TV at some point because it is that
It'll
cool.
be an app.
Yeah, it'll just totally be an app.
And how much does it cost?
It is free.
Do they have advertisements?
They do.
They didn't used to.
They didn't used to, but now they do. They have, I think it's like every 5 or 6 or 7 songs, they throw like a short 10-second ad in there.
I saw another use of it. Someone had the iPhone, which you can now connect over 3G or whatever. They were listening to it, and then they had it streaming from the iPhone to the car. So they were...
That's cool.
And I thought that was pretty cool. That gets, again, streaming content, cloud entertainment, pretty good stuff. All right, well, mine's going to be something we kind of already covered. Could pick a bunch of things. But because it is so cool, I'm going to pick Netflix for the Netflix application for the iPhone and the iPad and the iPod Touch It is also included in the new Apple TV. It will also be included in Google TV.
Yep.
It'll also be included in whatever. I'll pick Netflix.
In the blog post, Larry points out, I mean, they are killing Blockbuster with this innovation.
Netflix streaming. Netflix, the disc, which I get still, and I get whatever every couple weeks or every week I get a new one, is great. Netflix streaming is the greatest.
It's killer.
Because any movie I want to see that they have, and I think this is where we'll see the fight between the studios. I don't know how the studios get paid for this, to be honest. Do they get paid when I start watching it? Do they get paid for the catalog? Interesting model. But basically, I can start watching anything they have in the streaming library on my iPhone, on my iPad, on my TV, in real time. They're going to HD soon. I think the new Roku box that just got announced it's called the Roku box XD, and I think it will start to do HD content streaming, and so does the new PS3. It's going to do Netflix built in, no longer needing the disc, with HD.
It's so funny because I have a Apple TV, I have a PS3, and I have a Wii, and they can all play Netflix streaming.
And an iPhone.
And an iPhone, and an iPad, and a laptop.
And a laptop.
All these devices can stream my Netflix account down to me.
I wonder how many times you could stream them all at the same time. Have you ever tried it?
No, I actually haven't.
Something to think about.
Should try that at home.
So that's it. That's this week of CloudFocus Weekly. As always, you can follow us at blog.arkusinc.com, where we post these blogs like I Want My Cloud TV and our podcast episodes. Please don't do that. You can always follow us on Twitter. Twitter.com/ArkusInc is the company, ARKUSINC, or Twitter.com/Jason M. Atwood, or just Edelstein, which is us. You can also go to Facebook, Facebook.com/ArkusInc, where we post. You can like us, and then as we post blog posts or podcasts,
show up in your stream.
They'll show up in your stream. And the best way to follow the podcast is really through iTunes. We've talked about it. Go to iTunes, search for CloudFocus Weekly, hit subscribe, and then anytime we put out a new episode, like today we're doing a little late on a Thursday because we had prior commitments, so you would get that as soon as we publish it this afternoon, and it would flow right down to you if we do it early. While you're there, leave us a nice review. We really appreciate it. But until next week, we appreciate you joining us. And as always, enjoy that cloudy entertainment.